The opinions expressed by tonight's guest do not represent the opinions or position of Spaced Out Radio, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with SOR Media. Listener discretion is advised. Here at Spaced Out Radio, we are about to take you higher. Broadcasting from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to you listening around the world. This is Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. You can follow Tessa on our Facebook page at Spaced Out Radio, on Twitter at Tessa TNT, and you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio for the archive. But we break on command 'cause women rule the world. Buckle up, space travelers. Let the countdown begin.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time to go for a ride with host Tessa Nicole Thomas.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, it's like the deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening, space travelers. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the Rocky Tops on a Rocky Mountain high. Get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners and settle down snugly at mile marker 419.9 in colorful Colorado. It is Saturday, August 25th, Sunday, August 26th, for those of you on the East Coast and beyond, and this is Spaced Out Radio. I hope you had a rockin' week, an awesome day, and an even better evening. I am your host, Tessa TNT, and I am live tonight broadcasting from beautiful Bayfield, Colorado. We are thousands strong nightly across the world at Spaced Out Radio Network, spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, as well as Deep Talk Radio, which you can find at deeptalkradio.com. Don't forget to head to our website, Spaced Out Radio, where you can peruse the Spaced Out Radio store and read the encounter online dealing with everything strange, paranormal, and odd. Tonight, I have a treat for all you guys and gals out there. Tonight, we are getting to know Mariah Schmidt, and also, for the first hour, we have Scotty Rorek. So, to fill you guys in, on September 29th, 2018, a large ensemble of ghost hunting teams will simultaneously take part in a night of paranormal investigations in the most haunted public places throughout the world. Called Ghost Hunting Satellites, this year's focus will be dedicated on historic preservation, saluting the most haunted historic properties on Earth. Stay tuned as we continue to showcase the haunted treasures and the teams that will be introduced as them. Largest Ghost Hunt, Safe Haunted Places, and We Are One. Tonight we will be joined by Mariah Schmidt and Scotty Rorek. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm great, thank you.
We're doing wonderful. Thank you for having us, Tess.
It's so great to have you guys. Maria, if we could start with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the history of how the world's largest ghost hunt and National Ghost Hunting Day came about?
Be happy to. It's quite a beautiful topic for me. My husband and I started a company called Haunted Journeys about 4 years ago, and essentially what we were trying to do is do an exhibit of all the haunted locations out there, ghost tours, paranormal events, anything that was of the interest for the paranormal enthusiast, the ghost hunting enthusiast. In order to make a significant, showcase for Haunted Journeys, we said, well, let's go ahead and do something real special on National Ghost Hunting Day. And we started looking and looking, and we found no such thing. So we procured and registered for the date, and it's an official certified holiday, the National Ghost Hunting Day, always being celebrated the last Saturday of September. So this, coming up on 2018, is actually our third anniversary, and we always celebrate that day with what we put together was the world's largest ghost hunt. We did the very first one in 2016, where we engaged about 70 teams in 5 countries, which was unbelievable because we put that all together in about 3 months. And then in 2017, we added a few more teams and a few more countries, about almost 100, about 92 and in 10 countries. This year is astronomical. We're already up to 150 teams throughout 12 countries. What makes this year really, really special is that we are in our 6th continent. We have never had representation in the dark continent of Africa. And this year we do have somebody in South Africa. Plus we have Hawaii, 2 teams out there, places that we have never thought about that we were going to be. So, and like you mentioned, all of this is being done at no cost to any of us except a lot of hard blood, sweat, and tears equity. We all volunteer, and then all the historical sites do investigations, charge a little fee for folks to come out and see it, and they keep all the money towards their preservation needs. And that's pretty much it. And it all happens simultaneously on the 29th of September at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, which is a little earlier for you guys in Colorado.
Yeah, it is pretty early for us. We're going to kick off at 8 o'clock p.m. at the Grand Imperial in Silverton, and we're super stoked. We tried to pin it down last year, but we couldn't, so we did the railroad station again, but we got it this year, and I just recently talked to the general manager, and things are looking great, and it's going to be a great investigation, and I'm so excited to take part in this huge endeavor. It's all across the world, and it's pretty epic. We've been in it since the beginning, the last 3 years, and we always gain members. Every year we get more members, and it's just awesome. I love what you guys are doing and educating people on the paranormal and historic places and the preservation of such.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and
Scotty,
we're so proud that Tess, you are three years into it. So, from all of us at National Ghost Hunting Day, we want to thank Four Corners Paranormal.
And thank you for putting this on. I'm so glad I came across it, and we've been able to partake and learn more things about these places and help preserve them. Generally, we'll give them the donation, and then they'll give it back, and we're like, thanks, because we don't charge for what we do, and so it's so nice to have that money to work with, and places so generous because, they have it, the Grand Imperial. I can't wait. I'm so excited. But Scotty, can you tell us a bit about you and what you do for the world's largest ghost hunt?
Hi, I'm Scotty Rorek. I'm a psychic medium. This is my second year involved. Last year I was co-host with Brian Cano, and then this year I am leading the world's largest ghost hunt from the command center in Hamilton, Ohio. So I'm very excited to be a part of this. I've been very excited to be brought on. This year, as a psychic medium, we decided as a group that we are going to kind of move it more into the metaphysical. So not only do we have the paranormal teams, but every team has a medium, and we're really excited about trying to communicate with spirit, because that's what we do even in the paranormal. So For the longest time, it seems like we've been trying to, the paranormal teams are different than the mediums, and the mediums are, everybody's doing it different. But as my wife's group, Psychics Unite, is being a part of this year, we're trying to unite everyone into the same vision. We talk about not unity, but we talk about uniting. When we can all work together and bring our own talents and bring our own ways of doing things together for one cause, that seems to work so much better than everybody trying to do it their own way. So as a united group, as a united front, we're hoping to get more spiritual and then more evidence and more validation this year. And in the last few years, we've gotten some great messages, and one of the biggest messages is oneness, and so we're continuing to work on that oneness.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I love about this is para-unity, and it's been a big thing from the beginning, and, instead of people clashing and doing different things, we're all on the same page, we're trying to take the same steps at the same time, and see what kind of progress we get out of it. So, how is the metaphysical realm going to be different this year from other years?
Well, this year we're really focusing on asking more questions. We actually have 6 questions this year that we're going to be using, and we're going to be using them for a whole hour. In the past, we only used it right at the beginning, but we're all going to be asking the same questions, so for example, we have 6 questions, so each question is going to be asked for 5 minutes. We're going to actually let Spirit have time to answer, and then we're going to move on to the next question. So, and then at the half-hour mark, we do it for a half hour, and then at the half-hour mark, we are going to do it again, ask those same 6 questions. We're going to see if we can get similar responses, because that's what we always want to try to do. Or we're going to see what else we get in those hours. So we're really going to work metaphysically, through our spiritual and through our mediums and our paranormal. So I want to kind of talk about that real quick. Something that seems to get missed all the time is the fact that people on paranormal teams don't think they have abilities, but actually they do. And they sense things, they understand things, and we want everybody to really hone those skills and tune into Spirit that night, because that's what this is all about, is spirit communication.
So what has been the biggest piece of evidence that has been collected during this investigation?
Well, every year was different because we became more sophisticated. The first year, it was good, but there was a lot of issues in collecting data. I think Spirit was pretty much taken by surprise that all these people were investigating and raising up their calls all at the very same time. The second year became a little bit more organized, and the communication messages that we got, as Scotty was mentioning, all referred to the concept that we all have to work together without individualizing our own selves. That and they use the word actually to minimize our ego, and the delivery of love, delivery of light, the delivery of oneness was probably the highest ranked words that we got back from them. What was really interesting on both year 1 and in year 2 is that, and there could have been more, we just don't know about it, there were 2 apparitions recorded. And to get an apparition in any investigation, any time, any given point, we call that the Holy Grail. And we had it happen twice. So the first year was picked up by Roar's Theater in Cynthiana, Kentucky, which is the home base for Walking Dead, and an actual apparition was caught on a photograph, and it was outstanding. The second year, was caught on videography, and it was up in Wisconsin, in your part of the world, at the at the ruins of the Summerwind Mansion, which is a very heavily haunted area, and it was caught again on videography. So that's pretty impressionable. And I'll mention one other thing that really is not as it does not fall in the realm of what we consider evidence, but it's a random number generation study that we do with the Physical Research Foundation out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, near you, Tess, and they measure the probability of the coin cost in the millions. So these RNGs, they're little units, and they're placed strategically all around the world. And they collected data during both investigations of 2016 and 2017, and they said, well, what are the probabilities of having heads and tails? And usually it's 50-50, as we all know, right? But during the world's largest ghost hunt, our collective consciousness actually shift that probability. So there was obvious impressions that we made in our energy fields that actually influence natural coin tosses. So that's another very, very impressionable data that we collected this year. We're hoping that the intensity, with so much more penetration, more pings, more coverage around the world. Scotty, I'm getting a little bit excited about how we're going to shake the world. Yeah.
We definitely are. I mean, but it's so exciting to see spirit come through to us during this time. And it's not like this is the only time, but it's a chance for them to kind of validate the fact that they're there everywhere, every time, all the time. And this is the way we can start putting it together. Some of the things that we're trying to do beforehand is everyone at every site, we definitely want them to kind of inform the spirits there, to kind of work with the sites ahead of time to make sure the spirits know that we're coming, and kind of the intent of what we're trying to do. Because intent's always the biggest thing when we're out there working with spirit. Mm-hmm. We're out to work with the spirit in its highest and best good for us and for them, and we don't need the lower energies to be around us during this time. It's a time for us to rejoice and understand that, I guess it comes down to the basic belief that we are everlasting beings, and this is just one life in many, and let's show that it is, and then let's live the life that we know that this is multiple, so that, that we can enjoy what we have here and help others.
So Maria, I know you do like a lot of travel things as far as people going on different hunts and stuff like that, but do you feel like this largest ghost hunt going across the world with people taking the same steps at the same time, do you feel like that has opened up any portals or vortexes, or maybe made the spiritual connection or perhaps the veil somewhat thinner?
Certainly during the periods of our investigation on both years, there was an impact. We laid a question because of follow-up and getting the teams to come back and tell us their stories and some of the measurements they experienced. It was an astounding 70% that stated they had much more activity in these locations than they normally did. Does it open up a portal? I don't know, but it does open up a stronger connection to spirit. I think, and Scotty will go into this, part of this doesn't, the ghost hunt doesn't start at 10 p.m. Eastern time on the 29th. It starts now. And we're actually all working together. We have a little secret, as you know, Tess, we have a little secret Facebook group that we all sit there and we all talk to each other. We all like each other. We all love each other. We share ideas. We share concepts. What are we doing with this? What are we doing with that? So we're already collaborating and creating this incredible energy of one. And then we're going to take that and then we're going to apply that to the 29th. So it's a continuous process. And I think with Scotty, and he'll go into a little bit more what he wants to find out from Spirit is we want their guidance. We want to hear their voices about how to make our lives here in the planet Earth as we live in our mortal bodies to be better. How can we better be better people? And I think that's going to be part of the focus this year, as well as the historic preservation efforts, because all these spirits that are living in these old houses, that was their home. That's where they lived. That's where they died sometimes. And, Haunted Journeys has this motto that says, a haunting is history wanting to be heard. Mm-hmm. These guys want to tell us something, and we're hoping that, again, the strength of the collective consciousness, that we create this journey, this process, this togetherness, that we exchange that energy with them.
Right, and when we look at working with Spirit that way and know that Spirit is with us at all times, that it's not that we conjure them or do any of those type of terms, but Spirit lives with us daily. Spirit walks with us. They're with us. They see more than us. And for them to give us their guidance and then us accepting their guidance and accepting that Spirit is with us and letting them, and guiding us in our life and to make the better choices and better learnings. And that's what we're trying to get in one evening. But that's the thing that we take out from this, and we do this the rest of the year, so that our groups aren't here we're not trying to prove, we're just trying to get the Spirit's messages through. Because if we truly believe that Spirit is with us, and then that makes it easy for us just to give the messages that we're looking for.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome feat, and just everybody working together, it's just mind-blowing. I just love it that we're all on the same page and working for this common good, and the energy that's coming from it is positive. There's no negative will or anything inlined in that. But so, Scotty, what is your... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What has been your largest or biggest piece of evidence that you've collected through the past few years?
Well, as an organization, Maria already said it, but I mean, when I've been out when we were at like the old Baraboo and we were in it's Baraboo, Wisconsin, and it's the old Baraboo, and it's Baraboo is one of the most haunted cities in the United States, and so we were there, and we had a lot of activity happening that evening. It was quite amazing to see what all the groups were able to get. And we had a location that was sold out, had 3 large groups investigating this building in 3 different places. We were able to get EVPs. We were able to get video anomalies that were shown. It's been amazing on how much each individual location gets, and I guess that's what's so exciting, is that Spirit is there really trying to communicate, because it's not like hundreds, we got hundreds of these groups and like 100 didn't get it and like only 2 did. It's the other way around. There's very little locations that don't even get anything. I mean, I think everybody had something, but it depends on the level of what you think is great. But for me, any communication with Spirit is awesome.
So this year we're broadcasting it a little differently, as well as Facebook Live. What other entity are you using to put this out there for observers to see?
That's that's the reason why this year promises to be a lot more spectacular, because we're using different mediums. So Facebook Live, yeah, we'll have our live streams, and we will be posting. So follow us on National Ghost Hunting Day fan page for a lot of these links there as well. And again, this is part of what I was describing as the build-up. And I think every time we create a banner, we put them on the map, we put them on our database for the world to, check out what are the properties that are being offered on World's Largest Ghost Hunt. Again, that's on our National Ghost Hunting Day fan page. It's building that relationship with spirit. I really believe that as we put each of these into place, spirit says, oh my God, we're going to be a part of this, So that's one of the technological applications that I think is getting this thing ready. On top of it, besides Facebook and all the databases and the maps that we have out there, we're also going to be using a really cool, who happens to be one of our sponsors, and I want to thank them publicly, is Shindig. And Shindig is almost like a live stream in a big auditorium setting. Up to 1,000 people can come in. Of course, our teams will be in there. And we're going to have a stage on the Shindig application. It's you can pull it up on your cell phone, or you can do it on web-based. Again, all that information is on our fan page. But once you get in there, we can interact with each other. You can, Scotty's going to say, okay, Australia, we want to hear from the Aussies. Let's bring them up on the stage. And boom, we're going to put up their investigation. So we're going to tour the world and pull up all these wonderful teams up there and give them, the opportunity to be showcased, which is so important because they work so hard. Another technology that I want to also thank is Paratalk Radio, and they're going to be opening their lines throughout the event. So teams can not only show us what they're happening at, on our applications on Facebook, on Shindig, but they can also call into Paratalk Radio. So again, another infusion of energy through technology that we're engaging in order to make this even more pronounced. And all of this, you take this multiple of, offerings that we do, and all the people that will be watching, looking at Shindig, looking at Facebook, looking at, listening to the Paratalk Radio, we're engaging more and more multiples and multiples of persons. So it's not limited to 150 teams with the average, let's say, about 40 people per team. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But all those people, and Psychics Unite, keep in mind, Scotty's engaging them as well. So all these people are going to be infused together, watching collectively. So it goes so much further than just our core 150 teams and 150 locations and their guests. It goes so much further. And that's the intensity of what we want to create, to bring that value of collective consciousness to be remarkably just explosive.
So are you guys in New Orleans again this year for the actual live event with people present?
Meaning, are you referring to last year or this year?
Are you doing it again this year, or are we doing something different? I'm just trying to follow the bouncing ball.
Oh, I know. There's so many bounces. Well, what we're doing is a warm-up at September 13th, and at the very haunted Bloody Mary Haunted Museum in New Orleans. We're going to do a warm-up on the 13th. And that's basically just to sort of get people used to how to use Shindig. And that's going to be fun because that place is crazy haunted. And Bloody Mary, of course, she's considered, the voodoo queen of so she's going to make sure that this thing goes out. And thank you for plugging that, because I want everyone here listening, if they can go in, again, they can get that information from the National Ghost Hunting Day fan page. That is an event they should probably come in. It's a small donation of $3.33. We did that on purpose because we thought it was a good number to throw in. And all that basically is going
It's the opposite of 666.
helping. Yeah. Well, that's it. We call it a 66.6% percent discount, which gives you 33.3 of the $10 normal fee. So, kind of fun. We're having fun with that, but that's going to be interesting because we're going to have an hour investigation live streamed in Bloody Mary's Haunted Museum. And then after that, we're going to have a close-up and personal interview with Mary herself, Bloody Mary herself, where people will come in from the live stream and interview on stage with her. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a great process.
No, but we'll be live from Hamilton, Ohio.
Yes.
For the actual event. Yeah.
The epicenter of the world will be in Hamilton, Ohio, which is probably my home here, which is also a very, very haunted city. Hamilton is very, very haunted. But that's where we're going to have the command center is located. And that's where we're going to have an amazing team of IT experts coming together, and people can actually come to the command center and watch all the monitors and see all the live streams going on around the world. So, anybody that's up there listening from Hamilton, Ohio, or even people that might want to travel from Colorado to Hamilton, Ohio, to experience something that's going to be very unique and very powerful in their command center.
Yeah, super awesome what you guys are doing. And I don't know, just being on the same page and doing everything in sync and opening up the veil or thinning it or whatnot. It just seems like there's more experiences these days. I don't know if people scared of ridicule or whatnot have kept things to themselves and not shared it, but it seems more and more these days that things are just popping up and things are happening, and people on the other side are trying to get messages across and trying to communicate. I know there's a difference between intelligent beings and just like recorded beings that play back time and time again. But yeah, just capturing that evidence.
I'd like to, yeah. Tess, I want to kind of hit on that a little bit because this is important, and I'm sure Scotty can reflect on this as well. But what we notice as I'm not a ghost hunter. I am a ghost hunter collector. I guess maybe that's what we are. But I am not a ghost hunter. So I come in from I love doing ghost hunting. Don't take me wrong, but I am not a professional ghost hunter. But what I've noticed with ghost hunters is that when they go out there and they spend mega hours investigating and they get all this evidence, rarely do you see them sharing it collectively. It's almost like they consider a proprietary piece that, either they're afraid that people are not going to believe them, or they just feel like it's they don't want people exploiting it, or whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is, Tess, but they don't like them. They don't like to. There was a group I worked with, Paranormal Database, last year, and they couldn't get. It was basically, a database where people would drop in their evidence and say what happened, etc. He couldn't get people to volunteer their information. He could not have people deposit this data. And I said, well, why? They should be proud of it. Because his efforts were trying to compare, the data very scientifically kind of curated, put it into categories. And he says, I can't get people to do this. I can't categorize anyone. I said, why? So I think what we've been able to do is break a little bit of that, because Tess, that Four Corners Paranormal, love the other teams that we're working with. And you want to share your data with everybody else, and everybody else wants to share the data with you. We're breaking those walls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so awesome to bring them down and get that evidence out there. And it's hard to get, actual scientific evidence because you can't have this secure environment that's sterile and get this repeated evidence over and over and over again because every experience is different. It's quite difficult. But Dell in the chat room was asking, does increased anxiety in society increase reports of ghostly activity? What are your thoughts?
That sounds like a Scotty. Question for sure.
That's a great question. Thanks for asking. I think when we as I don't necessarily believe that it increases activity, other than the fact that it might increase our awareness. When we start in the world, when we start talking and understanding spirit and working with spirit, they tend to show up more, and I think people are starting to accept it more. I mean, our groups out there trying to get the same messages, yes, but I don't think like anxiety will of the world, but I think the messages that we're going through, because in the United States right now, and in how we're starting to see this divide between us, I think Spirit wants us to actually be together. So from that standpoint, Spirit's coming out trying to give more messages, trying to give more guidance. So, in the end, yeah, it could work, but I think it's just us having to be able to listen and understand.
Yeah, and there's just different equipment these days. There's more and more coming out every day for this field. And, I like to go into a place cold and use my intuition for the most part, but it's good to have those tools to back you up. Do you, by chance, use any tools when you go out, or do you just use strictly your intuition?
I think I always work with groups that do both. I think that's important. But I think everybody has the most important tool is their mind, and their ability to sense and talk with spirit. I think, to me, that is still more important. I mean, we're still in the phase where people don't believe that spirit's really there, that they don't believe that we're guided. We don't believe, and that we have to have so-called evidence. I don't know if we're ever really going to believe, because even with evidence, people go, "Oh, that's fake," or "This is fake," or that type of thing. Yes, using the equipment, and hoping to gain pictures, like we've done in the world's largest ghost hunt, we've actually gotten some, pictures of apparitions, as Maria said. But the more that it's really not, it's about the evidence. It's about the thing but it's the collective evidence. For us, it's evidence of those same words. I mean, we have, again, this year we have a word of the year. That's or our special word, and we put it out there right now. We have it out to the universe right now that we want all the groups to be able to have and say the same word. Now, is that, how is that word going to be gotten by groups? Like, it could be done by EVP. It could be gotten by the medium. It could have, be gotten from whatever forms. But once the word's given, and then if multiple groups give it, then we know that we're starting to see activity across the world, that spirit is working with us. It's not like spirit in Canada is different than spirit in South Africa. We're all one. It's a oneness of the world. And I think that's what we have to work more on, not on the fact that we're separate teams trying with separate equipment. And unfortunately, a lot of the equipment that we have out there is still not designed for ghost hunting. It's designed for other things, but we use it because we think we can gain some evidence off of there. So but I still do every team using a medium this year. And then all our Psychics Unite groups across the United States are having mediums and put their energies into this too, to really, really work with spirit on a more personal level. And I think unfortunately a lot of times people that have equipment spend too much time looking at the equipment and not enough time looking at spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And Tess, I want to kind of also, Scotty has really spoken about our oneness, etc., but we're also going to give them a little autonomy to interject. But this is new on the second hour, where they can still ask the same questions, wonderful questions that Scotty has selected for this year's World's Largest Ghost Hunt. But we call that the crafted investigation hour, which is the second hour. And this is the first time we've ever used this process where each team and location will design the second hour according to something that they're really good at or experts at, or the location kind of pushes that style. For instance, in Australia, we're going to have a group doing a Victorian seance. So at the old Baraboo Inn, they're going to do a reenactment of the Wild Wild West days in the bar. So they're going to use different mechanisms and to see how that's going to affect the level of communication with the spirit. This year is going to definitely be very challenging because we know the intensities can be higher, but I do believe that with some of the parameters that Scotty is putting into place, it's going to be safer. In addition, September 29th this year is the feast day of the Archangel St. Michael's. So that is it's almost like surreal that we're going to have the guardian angel that fights against the battles of the devil to be his patron date on the day we do this ghost hunt. So we'll see what influence that does to us.
Yeah. That is one of the things that I use is calling upon Michael the Archangel before I go into a place for protection. So that's awesome, these different things that we're using this year. So what is the main goal of the world's largest ghost hunt?
The number one goal, actually there's three goals. The number one, which is dear to my heart, is historic preservation. My husband and I managed an old Victorian inn, and we know the obligations and the burdens that an old historical building takes upon its operators and proprietors. It's very, very difficult. And they do it out of love. They can make a lot more money doing other stuff. And so an example of how that's coming to life is that all these teams that are out there and locations, they're selling out their events. We're a month out, and they're sold out. Some of them are adding a second night on Friday. Mm-hmm. I had a testimony from one bed and breakfast that called in last weekend. They called me and they said, Maria, I just want to let you know, I don't know why this is happening. Maybe it's the spirits sort of all coming together and saying, let's help these old historic properties. He said, I have never sold all my 6 rooms in my bed and breakfast 2 hours after we announced that we were going to do that. We were completely sold out of the rooms and of the tickets. And they were going to go ahead and open up a second night. And she was giddy. This is a little struggling bed and breakfast in a no man's town in the state of Michigan. And for me to hear that was extremely satisfying. It was pure joy from my heart. So if we can do this with a little tiny property in Michigan, imagine what we can do all over the world. Every year that would get bigger and bigger. The second goal that we have is public awareness. Public awareness that the haunted is not what we see in Ghost Adventures. No knocking on Ghost Adventures, but that's not the purity of communication with spirit.
Right.
And so we're going to try to attract these folks to come in, and these novices, people that are just scared, and invite them and say, no, this is good. You want to experience something wonderful. Come and look at it. And chances are they're going to have a thrill of a lifetime. And again, that goes into allowing the public to understand that it's okay to do this and to support these historic sites through the efforts of the paranormal tourism world that we're trying to promote with Haunted Journeys. And the third and most, and just as important as the other two, is again the paranormal collaboration and the uniting all these teams and property owners and the world and the spectators and enthusiasts, the curious and the ones that don't believe in it, and mediums, right, the light workers, just collaborating and putting them all together as one, because that's another one of my pet peeves with ghost hunters. Tess, I'll tell you what it is. It's almost like that mediums and ghost hunters are oil and vinegar. And only the ones that the teams that happen to be a little bit more open, a little bit more wide spectrum, and a little bit more, what's the word I want to use, more forthsighting, more or less selfish about their needs, are the ones that collaborate more with the mediums, and the mediums collaborate with the paranormal investigators. So that's another, the third goal. This amazing collaboration that we're doing with everyone.
Yeah, and it's because of you guys that we actually reached out to find a medium or a psychic for our team, being that was one of the things that you were requiring for the ghost hunt on certain things. And we found an amazing person, and I actually find myself picking up on the same things, if not more, being around her, and she'll be like, yeah, I totally feel that too. Or we heard a ghost not too long ago on one of our last investigations with our own ears, not just a EVP, and it was super awesome. But you were talking about a bed and breakfast. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll remember bed and breakfast and get back to it from you. But
yeah,
but what is amazing to me is exactly what we're talking about, is the fact that you now have a better sense of spirit because you're working with the medium together, and your group is going to get stronger because of it. That's one of our that's one of the missions of this, is the fact that we're not separate. We all can hear spirit. We all can work together. So instead of trying to, be that we're these guys that just use tech, let's use everything. Let's talk to spirit however we can, and together. And our mind is the best and number one. So to me, that's so incredible to hear that you are having that success, and that's amazing. And I wanted to commend you on that.
Yeah, and it's because of, the world's largest ghost hunt and National Ghost Hunting Day that our team has gotten so big, and people are taking interest in listening, and it's just awesome, people being so open-minded. But going back to the bed and breakfast, people get that stigma of not wanting to say that their hotel or motel is haunted, such as the Strader. They will totally deny it, but everybody else will tell you who has stayed there that this hotel is haunted, and they're afraid it's going to drive business away. But it actually, these days, is picking it up. People actually want to stay in places and experience things, and have always wanted to, and know people who have, and so you guys doing this is helping people.
Yeah, Tess, I'm so happy. What a great statement, and thank you for doing that, because that's one of, on the Haunted Journeys, that's what we're going to be doing a lot of work in convincing property owners of historic sites is, we're not strictly saying just go haunted. That's not a good, healthy marketing approach for anyone, but add that to your blend of offerings for that property, because it actually adds color, it adds excitement. You tell a history to a kid from a book, and you just read it, and he's just like, oh, can I go out and play it or listen to this? You tell them a good ghost story that is connected to someone that truly lives in that property, and it becomes real to them. It becomes a point of incredible excitement of the mystery. And that's what we're trying to convince some of these historic properties, like the one you mentioned, that they will deny it because they think it's that taboo for them. No, it's not. It will open up a new level of tourism that will be very satisfying to them. So it can be playfully done. Above all, it has to be respectfully done, but it will encourage that history of that place to be heard and respected. And that's what we're trying to do. And this is all part of that formula test.
And you're doing such an awesome job with it, and I know you are working so hard and you lose so much sleep doing this, and I just want to commend you on the amazing job you're doing, and it just keeps getting better and better every year, and you guys are knocking it out of the ballpark.
I think we will, Scotty, right? Beam us up, Scotty. Yeah, it's going to be a great night. And, I'm so excited that we have, and I'll do a little bit of a foreshadowing for your listeners tonight, that what Scotty and I have done the first hour is basically the brick and mortar and some of the concepts and the structure of how the World's Largest Ghost Hunt is going to be held this year, so that's kind of cool. But in the next 2 hours, you're going to have people that have lived it like you. They have participated, most of them have participated in the World's Largest Ghost Hunt from preceding years, from all around the world. And that's pretty amazing, because that's what the next 2 hours that you're going to present, those are the people. That's what the World's Largest Ghost Hunt is about. It's people in Australia. It's people, we have, for the first time, we have the country of Sweden joining us. We have folks from England. We even have an abbey in England, which is amazing. Some of the properties we have just absolutely spectacular. You need you guys to go in there and look at the map and see what we've got there. We've got the beautiful country of Ireland represented. We also have Canada. Of course, Canadians rock this year. Last year we had 2 sites, I think, in Canada, and this year we have 12, and that's due to Bradley Monks, who's going to be one of your speakers. Like I mentioned, California, I think we've got about 35 of the 50 states, which is pretty amazing, including the state of Hawaii, which has just suffered, unfortunately, a little bit of a hurricane, so hopefully it has infused spirit energy there. But we also have Mexico, we have South Africa, we have Malaysia, we have India, and you're going to have Souvik talking to you tonight about that. And we also have Australia, and Robinson will be speaking from the Aussie world. So all these magnificent countries, they all do ghost hunting different, which is kind of, interesting to see how that's going to influence the World's Largest Ghost Hunt. Time zones is an issue. When we do 10 p.m. shotgun start of our ghost hunts in the eastern seaboard of the United States, it's going to be 7 o'clock in the morning in India. And it will be 2 o'clock in the afternoon the next day in Australia. So it's going to be very interesting how that leverages out. But everybody is like, yeah, let's do it. It's gunshot start, and that's what makes it so powerful. But the logistics behind it is extremely challenging, and that's probably one reason that it hasn't been done too often, because it is a little bit of a logistical nightmare. Mm-hmm. But, and 5 years ago, Tess, we didn't have the resources and technology that we're using today. We didn't have Shindig. We didn't have Facebook Live 5 years ago. We didn't have all these wonderful tools that are making us and keeping us physically connected during these 2 precious hours that we're doing the ghost hunt.
Well, we are down to our last minute, so Do you want to direct our listeners how to find this event, the best way to view it for them, and your websites for your travel and such?
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, I'll start with the main sponsors, and Haunted Journeys is one of them, and we're in hauntedjourneys.com, and that's where we have all the categories of places to go and things to do with the haunted. The world's largest ghost hunt has its own website, and that's largestghosthunt.com. Find us everywhere with hashtag largest ghost hunt in social media. You'll find us there. We are pretty much closed up on registration, so we're not inviting too many teams or locations to join us at this point. We're filled up. But we definitely are going to be pushing for spectators to watch us on live stream, which brings me to the next two sponsors that we have is Shindig, which, again, they're the ones that did the video platform for us and live stream stage. And then we also would like to cite Cyber Spider out of Arkansas, who did our website for us for the world's largest ghost hunt, and I need to send them our kudos and thank you. I want to thank Scotty for being my partner. And Psychics Unite is going to be
PsychicsUnite.com.
PsychicsUnite.com. It's an incredible addition to our year. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, on that
Sorry,
note...
Scotty.
No worries, but that's what you needed to share, right, Scotty, as far as your website, psychicsunite.com? Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
well, thanks so much.
And ScottyRorek.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Scotty and Maria, for being on for the first hour, and I'm excited for the next couple hours, but we're going to go to break. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The first annual Caribou Paracon is happening September 28th to 30th in the 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Brought to you by the Canadian Society of Questers and Spaced Out Radio. Come listen to our featured speaker, Grant Cameron, along with Elizabeth Anglin, Paisley Town, Mike Moran, Eric Cooper, and more. It's a 3-day supernatural adventure at the Spruce Hills Resort and Spa. Tickets for the weekend are $150 Canadian. The Caribou Paracon, celebrating everything paranormal.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us and bring your questions for us to investigate right here on Spaced Out Radio.
There's news, and there's The Encounter. This is Spaced Out Radio News Director Everett Thiemer inviting you to check out The Encounter. Our half-hour news segment every Monday through Friday night is different compared to what you're used to. Our goal is to bring you the weird, strange, and interesting stories the mainstream tends to leave out, and stories that will make you scratch your head in disbelief. The Encounter can also be found at spacedoutradio.com and on our Facebook page, SOR The Encounter. Come give us a read.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Tonight's show and topic of discussion do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Spaced Out Radio, SOR Media, or its hosts. Listener discretion is advised. Here comes the second hour of Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio. And you can follow Tessa on Twitter at Tessa TNT. Now, back to the show.
Hey guys, welcome back and thanks so much for tuning in tonight. For the second hour, we have Bradley Monk, Brandy Reader, and Dan. Welcome guys, and thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So we're going to start with Bradley. Bradley, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your involvement with the world's largest ghost hunt?
Sure. Calling from Canada. We're based out of the province of Saskatchewan. I'm the lead and founder of Sam Paranormal. This is our second year into the National Ghost Hunt, and we're proud to be back in it again this year. We did it last year. We had a blast. Love working with Scotty and Maria, and we're this year. Our location is going to be the Claybank Brick Plant. We've been there before. It's a National Historic Site. It's the only last standing brick plant of its type in Canada. with government cutbacks and stuff, they're requiring a lot of funding. So we're going to go down and help them out. We've got some things planned and there's some events coming up there for that. So we'll process up later.
Nice. And Brandy, what about you?
I'm in Indiana, and I manage the Randolph County Asylum Infirmary and the Old Blackford County Jail and the Irvin Campbell Speakeasy for Dan Allen. And so this is our first year joining, and all 3 locations are participating this year, and we've got several groups coming together and helping out with it. We've got 2 groups for the Asylum Infirmary and 2 groups for the Irvin Campbell Speakeasy, and then 1 group for the Old Blackford County Jail.
That's awesome. So you guys have a lot of locations you're covering.
Yep, and they're only about an hour away from one another.
Okay, and Dan Allen, I assume. Well, how about you?
I'm the owner, and Brandy manages them, so I'm doing the same as Brandy.
Awesome.
So we're going to have one more location coming up soon too. So we like to save old buildings.
That is so awesome. Like, I hate to see them just sitting there and nothing happening with them, and this just breathes new life into them, and, you know, communicating with those spirits like we were talking about earlier, and getting their message and somehow helping them. And, you know, the world's largest ghost hunt and National Ghost Hunting Day has brought so much attention to that, and awareness to so many places, and help to those places by running these tours and funding them. So what brought you guys to doing the world's largest ghost hunt? We'll start with Bradley.
Well, I guess it's the team I have. We have a very good passion of looking after our historic places. We love our history. We love finding out information, you know, and helping people. And that's the big thing with the team, is that having people that's willing to help others. And, you know, it's National Ghost Hunt Day. I mean, it's an awesome event. It's a great thing to bring people and teams from around the world together to take and unite as one voice around the world. That's a pretty cool thing, and a pretty big thing to do. And, you know, kudos to Maria and the rest of the organization team that can do this. But for us, I mean, we have the theory of, you know, history is easy to get rid of, and you can see that happen all over the world. Their history is disappearing left and right. So if we can bring spirit in and bring something part of National Ghost Hunt Day, and to help these locations survive and stick around and be around for years to come, that's what we're going to do. That's where we'll be. You know, that's one of the things, but we're not going to do that just for National Ghost Hunt Day. We continue that year round. That's one of the things I kind of, you know, there's some popular historic places around that we could go to, but a lot of them operate as a tourism thing and try to keep, you know what I mean, going as ourselves. But if we try our hardest to try to find a historic location that needs the most funding, the one that needs the most help, the one that is not the popular one. That's the one we go for. And we find it they're a lot more appreciative and a lot more thankful that we're there. Yeah, so that's how basically how we find our location and what we go about there.
And Brandy, how about you? How many years have you been partaking in the world's largest ghost hunt, and how did you get hooked on it?
Well, this is actually our first year, and I was messaged by Maria telling us about what the National Ghost Hunt was and the purpose of it, and that's exactly along the lines of what all of our intentions are with Dan's locations. All of us are extremely passionate about the history and carrying it on to future generations, just because they're not really learning a lot of the local history so much in schools. They're learning national history and just the key points. And with Dan's buildings, the reason he started everything was to save historic buildings from being torn down by the wrecking ball.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of the volunteers or workers at all the locations, we all research all the time, trying to correlate evidence that people have gotten. So we research names and we research their story, and just it kind of affirms what everybody has caught, and we all enjoy that, and we all work as a team at all of the locations. And the preservation part is something that we're all pretty passionate about. And right now we have an unmarked cemetery at the Asylum Infirmary, and we've actually got probably around in between 50 and 60 names, and our goal is to try and dedicate that cemetery at some point and be able to put a monument up. So with the world's largest ghost hunt, we'll be able to let some spirits rest at ease and let them be remembered.
Yeah, that's so awesome that you're able to find their names and acknowledge them, because nobody wants to be forgotten, and there are so many people that are on the other side, and to be able to acknowledge them and put names to graves and have people come and remember them, that is so awesome. And kudos to you for doing that, Brandy. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Dan, how did you and Brandy meet, and how long have you been doing the world's largest ghost hunt?
Also my first year. And Brandy is the one that actually got us hooked up with the ghost hunts. Now, Brandy and I have been friends for over 10 years, and we had like thoughts, and we're, for the area we live in, I guess we stick out a little bit, so it was, we were destined to meet, I suppose. But the ghost hunts that Brandy got us hooked up with, the National Ghost Hunt, is something that we definitely like, in the sense drawing all the community together as such. So once Brandy heard that, and once she told me, it was like, oh yes, definitely, we got to do this. And I think it's an excellent idea to help preserve these old buildings that don't seem to be getting too much help, either restoring or even trying to save the history. It's sad to see, and I've kind of come about it in a odd way with the ghost hunting. My first building I saved was the jail, and so many odd things happened, and the word got out, and that's how we kind of got into the ghost hunting. And so it's been an interesting ride. So, but I do enjoy saving the old buildings, and we've got 4 buildings now we've saved, and looking for more if we can do it. It is tough.
That's awesome. So, Bradley, can you tell us a little bit about what you've experienced with this whole event and being on the same page with many around the world? Do you feel like it's increased activity or lessened it? What has been your experience?
As far as the experience goes, I mean, the experience has been phenomenal. I mean, it's from making friends to getting in locations that you normally wouldn't get into, to, and finding notes about the history and educating people, too. That's a big key. And I kind of stress that a little bit with my team, is to educate people. We done a hotel last year down in Shaunavon. That was our location. as the oldest and longest-standing wood structure hotel in all of Canada. And, we went down there and, we did the what they called the bridge at the time, is basically with Scotty and Brian Cano that did it last year, and he's not with us this year. And to try to get activity going and, in connection with the mediums and stuff and see what they pick up and, how the collective powers as be to work and see how it can trigger whether you get more activity or less activity at a location. Well, it actually caused more activity at our location. Take that a step further. After that, our part of that was done, we tried a lot of experiment, as we called it. We knew another team here that was doing an investigation in another location. We called them up and say, hey, listen, we want to try to do this bridge thing between the two teams here. Let's try this again. So they tried to make activity happen at our location, and we tried to make activity happen at their location, and darned off, it didn't work. It was quite an experience. And as far as activity goes, we did get more activity while joining us. And, I think this collection of spirit, has no space, time, or anything, and they can go anywhere. And I believe wherever you are in the world, they know where you are. Just like Claybank, they know we're coming down there. We talked about this a month ago. And they knew we were coming. They know we're coming, and they're getting ready for us. Not all bad spirit down there. There's some that's got a little bit of attitude. They like to throw some stones or call you some bad names or whatever, but that's okay. But the thing is to get their information out. If they had a story to tell, that's what we want to do. We want to get their story out and let it be known to whoever they want to know to. If it's another previous family member or is it out to the world, doesn't matter. If they want it told, we'll get it out. So I think that it's been a great thing for us. It's been great for the team. I think I'd like to see more teams into it next year.
Yeah, it seems like every year there's more and more teams joining and more countries, and it's just awesome to watch it grow over these last few years and to be a part of it and to get that information out there and, help people open their minds and, educate themselves on the facts. So, Brandy, can you tell us a bit about your experience with the world's largest ghost hunt? What has been your biggest piece of evidence that you've captured thus far? Not being a part of the ghost hunt because this is your first year, but as far as doing your hunts with the tours and such.
Probably between both my daughter and I. My youngest daughter can see them and communicate with them as well. And going with her is always incredible because I can tell when she sees them and feels them, and she kind of backs up what I see and feel. At the old jail, my first experience there, I was cleaning the sheriff's room on the living quarters side, and I was the only one there because Dan had just left to go get something to eat. And I had just had surgery on my neck, maybe 3 weeks prior to that, and I'm vacuuming, and all of a sudden I have a firm grip on my right shoulder, and I turned around to swing because I had just had surgery on my neck. I thought that Dan was messing with me, and no one was there, and I looked out the window, and his truck wasn't back. And so I said, okay, guys, I'm just getting this cleaned up for the next group tonight, and played my music, and about 2-3 minutes later, the same thing happened, except this time they firmly gripped on my right shoulder and then turned me around. Like they didn't want me in there. They wanted me to go back out the door.
Mm-hmm.
So I threw my hands up and I said, okay, I'm going to go outside. And as far as my daughter is concerned, both my girls have been a part of either the jail and now the infirmary since they were born. And Izzy, my youngest daughter, her sister was in school, and she was there while I was cleaning, and I was in the sheriff's room again. And she starts going up the attic. I said, well, what are you doing? And she said, well, I'm going to go play with my friend. So I just continued vacuuming because it didn't really faze me. I figured she had seen somebody upstairs. And then she came back down the stairs real quick and asked for a Jif peanut butter jar. I said, what do you need that for? And she said, well, I have to go get my friend some sand. And so I went outside with her, and she went to the edge of the curb and gathered up some sand, put it in that jar, and then ran back upstairs and brought her Chuck E. Cheese ball that she had just won the night before. And I was just standing there watching her as she's oblivious to me being there. And that ball's going back and forth to her. And she's just talking away and calling the little girl Patty. And she's excited because the little girl at that time, she said that she was 3, and my daughter Izzy was 3 also. And she said, Mom, she looks just like me. Her hair's dark just like mine. And she's played with her ever since.
So do you get a feeling off of her, whether positive or negative?
You know, when my girls are there, it's a very positive feeling. Now, if my girls aren't there and I'm giving a tour, a history tour, because if someone comes there for an overnight, we give them a history tour first. And there was one time that it was all male, and we went up into the attic, and she just was not happy. You could tell. I can sense things, and I can feel things, but I can't see her. But I could tell she was very uncomfortable, very uneasy, and I don't know if it was because they were all men. I'm not sure. But it was definitely a different atmosphere for sure.
That's amazing. Well, Dan, can you tell us a bit about your asylum and the ghosts inside of your buildings that you have?
At the asylum, I know we have several people. Brandy can help me with this, but a guy named Bill who likes to play checkers. We have, what's the names, Brandy?
Ida Gunkel was in the basement. She had been upstairs on the women's side, but they also had a jail cell in the basement, kind of like a solitary confinement if you had been unruly or they couldn't get you to calm down. And she was in menopause, and so her hormones were just going crazy. But at the time when all this happened, it wasn't something that the medical field or anybody was really aware of. And they had her down there for a while, and she ended up taking the lacing off the mattress and then putting a broomstick, the ticking, yes, put a broomstick on top of the pipes so it would roll, and she ended up hanging herself in the basement.
Oh, wow.
Some say it's because she couldn't take it anymore. Some say it was just because of the hormones. They're not sure if it's because of the menopause or if it was because of going crazy being in solitary by herself.
And then we have
Doris.
Doris, yeah. Go ahead.
It said that she was kicked in the head by a mule, at the age of 12, and so her two older sisters just dropped her off on the doorstep of the infirmary. And in the meantime, she ended up cooking all the meals when she was older for the residents and the superintendent that lived there.
And they had 500 residents at the time.
Wow.
And she was a patient up until they closed, when the building was still a nursing home.
Yeah, we've got a few other ghosts we call by name as well. Let's see, there's Joseph in the attic, a little boy. Let's see. I know there's one. We have a doctor there. We have a large shadow figure. What it is? Yeah, a judge. So the over the years they've collected quite a few spirits or energy, whatever people are into, and but they're slowly coming out. We're the first people to own this place, and we've only had it for about 3 years, and I think they're just starting to talk. So we do have a lot of things that go on, but these people are actually, like we're saying, intelligent, and they're trying to communicate with us. So that's nice to have. People that reoccurring as well. This is at the asylum. And then, of course, like I say, Laura at the jail, or Patty, excuse me.
Patty.
Yep. I think, and then we have an ex-sheriff there. That's what kind of started it all off at the old Blackford County Jail. Was me and my brother bought it for trying to make it a historical site of some sort, and lived there for 2 years. Didn't have any problems, and then one night, as soon as I laid down in bed, just like right on cue, this huge guy walks into my room, and I didn't recognize him, and about the third step in, I realized he wasn't real, and he goes to the foot of my bed, turns around, looks right at me, and we stared each other down for about 20 seconds. Then he walked back out, and of course I didn't tell anybody for 2 years. I didn't want to be known as the crazy guy that lives in the jail. Lightning storm in the background, so right now I know that's kind of like set up, but it's real. But anyway, so once I did tell a person I could trust, and they said, well, that sounded like a sheriff that died downstairs in the office back in 1977, Ed Townsend. I said, well, who's Ed Townsend? So they said, yeah, the sheriff that died downstairs. So he got me a picture, and a couple weeks later I said, that's him. And so he said one of his nieces is still alive, so I went and talked to the niece and described them to a T, and even what he was wearing when he appeared to me is what he always wore when he went on duty. And they said, now, how did you know all this stuff? I said, because he came into my room. So they always, when I see him, say, well, say hi to Uncle Ed for me when you go home. But that's what started it all. I really wasn't into ghost hunting or anything. Word got out, and then people started investigating and finding quite a bit of stuff there. Of course, the jail was built in the late 1870s, so it has been there for quite some time. But that's how I got into it.
So, Kevin in the chat room is asking, how did you guys find out the names of these spirits?
So at the Randolph County Asylum Infirmary, we have Ted Martin. He is the Randolph County Genealogical and Historical Society president, And we've gathered a lot of the information from previous research from a lady named Monisa. She's in her 90s now. And most of the research that she had found was diligently going through newspapers.com and ancestry.com and going through family trees and all the records of the people mentioned. We have the actual newspaper articles with all the information and their names. And it's nice that the Historical Society's joined us. Ted actually gives the tours when people go there and stay the night. And it takes him about 2 hours. But he'll give you not just information about the Asylum Infirmary, but also historical information about Indiana, which then leads to the infirmary, because the Asylum Infirmary, when it was started, was what initiated Indiana trustees in the state of Indiana.
That's awesome, and it's so cool to capture evidence and then go and do your homework and find these different things out. Bradley, how many years have you been doing the ghost hunt? Is this your first year or no?
This is our second year for the National Ghost Hunt Day. Just a little talk about how we get our names there, or since you were on this topic there. A lot of times we have a separate body that does our history checks, our information, our digging through the archives. Myself, none of my team members do that. We don't want to know. We go to a location, we go in blind. We don't know no names. We don't know nothing. We just go into it, and we use our SP11s, our 7s, our spirit box, all that. And plus we use our mediums. And a lot of times we'll get the mediums, we'll pick up a name, or a name will come across the spirit box or whatever, and we'll jot that down. Like we have a full investigator's report and the whole logs and blah, 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 and et cetera, et cetera. We keep all that information wrote down. Even during the investigation, I have somebody there filling out paperwork as we're going. Is there a name come? Joe, say, for example, comes up on the SP7. We'll write that name. We work very hard trying to get a last name. A lot of times we don't. Then we'll go back and we write down also the area where we got that. And what we do is during review time is we'll go back and, hey, we got that name Joe. We get a hold of the person that's doing our history and our checks, and we check and see if there was any Joe that worked in that area. 99.9% of the time, we come up with, yeah, there was a person. We get a name, we get a picture, the last name, we find out about that person. And if we do have to go back to that location again, then we know who this Joe is. Then when we call the name and the last name and what he did there, normally we get just to do that, and we 80%, 90% of the time, we get more response to it. And it's the same voice that we hear again. So, yeah, like I said, we're in the second year. We're going to be we'll be a third and a fourth. We're going to continue on going with this. I think it's just a phenomenal event. Like I said, this year we're going to do the Claybank Brick Plant. It'd be the first year for National Ghost Hunt Day for them down there. We have events down there planned for the whole day. We got a barbecue going. I'm expecting up to about 120 people for that night for the ghost hunt. We can handle that many people. It's a big location. We got vendors coming down, a clay pottery making company come down, so it's a clay brick making plant. We got mediums coming down, going to do readings, tarot card readers, bunch of different booths we got coming up. And we're also going to do daytime tours. We're stopping probably about 5 o'clock, and then we're going to go back at it again at 7, which then we'll start our National Ghost Hunt Day. We're going to take tours. Like I said, I think we're over 100 people, I think, planned right now coming for the ghost hunt that night. We're going to handle up to 120 people. There is clay pits up there, I might add, as well. The First Nations people used the children way back hundreds of years ago. A lot of their children drowned in those clay pits, so their spirit remains, and they could say they're there. So we're going to go up and we're going to do some stuff up in there with the mediums, and we're going to try to do a bridge. We'll do some spirit box stuff up there, but we're going to use the newer equipment. But this year we're going to do something a little different. We're going to bring it back old school. Old school, I mean, let's do trigger objects. We're going to use like flour or baby powder, and we're going to place that stuff down and lock that stuff off and just see if we get any footprints, and which we had before. We caught children's footprints that looks like little babies. It's really weird. We even caught footprints of a hoof. Yeah. So I don't know where that come from because there was no animals around that area. So, yeah, we're going to, like I said, take it back old school this year and see if it makes a difference.
So, being that you guys have done this before, what has been your biggest piece of evidence captured by the world's largest ghost hunt? And do you feel like being on the same wavelength as other people all across the world has increased activity at all?
Oh, yes. Oh, by all means, it sure does. For you guys, this is your first year, welcome to World Ghost Hunt Day, and I wish you the best of luck. If you need any assistance, get a hold of me, and I'll help you best I can. But, yeah, you will. You will see a major difference in your activity. You're going to see a big spike in your spirit box. You're going to see a big spike on your K2 hits. If you get touched or you actually can hear a voice, you're going to get an increase in that, especially if you do with the mediums. With Scotty, you'll be impressed at what you're going to get out of it. My suggestion is take lots of notes, fill out your reports and stuff like that. Run everything you got. Run it, because you're going to get lots. Get some extra recorders. You're going to need them. Mm-hmm. This year we got extra recorders. We're going to run some extra live. I'm hoping to be able to stream 8 live cameras this year.
Oh, wow.
So when you go to us, you're going to have 8 live stream cameras going.
That's awesome. Well, Mel in the chat room is asking, do you guys use trigger objects? And we'll go ahead and start with Bradley since you're already on there, and then we'll move on to Brandy.
Yes, trigger objects, awesome. We have a Boo Bear. We have one of those, but you don't need a Boo Bear. You can use a ball. You can use a little toy car, but you got to remember it's spirit that's moving it, so it's going to be something fairly easy to move. You can't place a bowling ball there. It's going to be hard for them to move, not unless they got incredible energy, which, that takes years and years and years for them to do that. To see a full body apparition takes years to even build, for them to be able to build up that much energy to do that and be able to do that. But yeah, we caught full body apparitions. I walked right past the little girl, didn't even see her at the time. And when we got home and reviewed the footage on our 4K cameras, that's when, I seen her. She was there plain as day. I walked around the corner, walked in the kitchen part, and as the camera turned, I seen a lady's head pop right around the corner, and she poked back in. This is within minutes of each other.
Wow, that's amazing. Brandy, how about you? Do you guys use trigger objects, Brandy and Dan?
I know for the jail, typically before a group comes, a good cleaning of the place, kind of just disrupting the normal routine and just a cleaning, definitely gets a little bit more activity. Like I said before, when kids are there, they love it for some reason at the jail. And so when my girls are running around giggling, I can definitely feel a lot more. I know Dan has experience with the Irvin Campbell Speakeasy. Dan?
Yeah, we use trigger objects. Kind of self-taught here, so we since we have the little girls in the attic, and so I start putting dolls and marbles and sand and old school slates and stuff like that up there to help her communicate, and that end up, I guess, being called trigger objects. So we do have a bunch of stuff, and we just kind of cater to who's there. So have we brought objects in to see what we can find? Not me personally, but I think some of the ghost groups do. I know when they come to the old Blackford County Jail, they'll bring in like badges and maybe an old sheriff's hat or something along that lines to see if we can get them stirred up a little bit in the sense that they recognize something. But the jail seems to be the big one for the trigger objects with me. Now the asylum, we do have a lot over there, like the dolls and such, and then, like I say, other people bring in, and we have an ex-cook named Mary that people bring her flowers because when she comes, she does talk a lot, and she usually talks about flowers, and when people do bring her flowers, she seems to talk about flowers that night. So seems about everybody knows about that brings flowers to Mary. So we do quite a bit of trigger objects, and then the people who do come investigate as well, that do their homework, bring some as well, and some even leave them there for us, which is nice.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do, is to leave, especially when it's involving children, is to leave your trigger objects there. I mean, a Boo Bear, yeah, they're like a $400 bear, so no, we don't leave that. But, yeah, definitely don't leave that. But we take and, we bring, if we're involving children, especially kids, I look at it, if I give my young fellow something, then I take it away, and I can see the hurt in his eyes. So it just, we look at it, they were once us one time, so let's leave the trigger objects there, and I try to encourage that for every team going. So any listeners that you have on this tonight, I encourage you to leave your trigger objects behind, and if you have to go to the dollar store or Walmart or whatever, you get that stuff, fine and dandy, but leave it for the kids, leave it for them to play with.
Nice.
So have you guys found that doing the world's largest ghost hunt and advertising for that has increased awareness and actually added members to your team? We'll start with Bradley.
Oh yeah, I get messages every day. Come here, come to this location, come check out this place, or are you looking for members? Can I come? We invite anybody that wants to come with us. As long as it's okay with the location, we invite anybody that wants to come along with us. Come with us. Check it out, see what we do. Take the equipment yourself. Go try it. We've done it multiple times. So, I can give it to somebody else, and you here, go ahead, see if you can find something. Go ahead. It's like a new breath of fresh air, and it gets not only get your name out there, but it gets out what you do, right? And these people are just going in, they're just doing this or that, and it shows people that you are going to these locations with the utmost respect, with respect for a lot of cases we hear about in museums, people leaving their equipment or sitting on the old antique chairs or sitting on the beds. No, that's why we have tripods. And we have brackets to hold our equipment. We mount it to the tripod, so none of our equipment is sitting on display cases or sitting on whatever. If you need a chair, grab a chair and take it in with you and sit down on that. It's all about respect. You hear about so many teams going to places that disrespecting things, and it makes it hard to get back into these locations. So, we're opening up some doors for other teams to win, which we don't mind doing. but go in with the same respect as we do. And as far as Ghost Hunt Day, I mean, it's a one-night event for us for that. But for us, National World Ghost Hunt Day, it's every day for us. Like I said, we get people all the time asking, and I have 8 team members right now, and I do myself. I'm an empath. I do travel at nighttime in my sleep. I go to different locations to see what's going on. I have a medium on my team. I have a sensitive on my team. And the rest of them are all just tech and camera operators and investigators. So, we all work together. We work very good, and that's the key. Get a team that works very good. And when we work with Maria for World Ghost Hunt Day and Scotty, you can't ask for better. And for you guys for the first time, you'll see that. And you'll see how it works. You'll see how it all comes together. And especially when it comes to evidence reveal of what you caught and the similarities of what you caught at your locations compared maybe what I caught here in Canada or what may be caught in Australia. So, it's going to be terrific.
And Brandy, what about you? Have you guys found that a lot of people are wanting to attend or actually join your team due to this world's largest ghost hunt?
Yes, I don't think very many people around here were really aware of it, but we've definitely added to our family of everybody that helps out. We are actually one of the team members that's joining us at the Speakeasy. He's a part of the mysteriously haunted Monroe House, and that's only a block away from the old jail. But we try to support one another throughout the year, and having him join us and be a part of it together as a team and as a family has been awesome. And then just watching everything come together, Maria's worked really, really hard, and she makes sure that she tries to help you if you have any questions. She's always right there and always posting any information. What I find is really cool is everybody involved with it sharing one another's event, and that's something we're really big on anyway, and it's nice to see that and more people trying to share everybody's events and try and be a part of everything and not just promote their own.
Yeah, I love the para-unity and people working together, not only on the day of, but like you were saying beforehand, and sharing each other's pages and activity that's going on there. So what different things do you guys use on your ghost hunts or your tours? Do you guys ever use like music or certain audio clips to increase activity? We'll go ahead and start with Bradley again.
Oh, yes. Definitely. We used, we did an old opera house, so we kind of played some old-time music and stuff on there. And so I left the recorder going, and after I stopped the music on my phone and shut my phone back down, I don't believe in taking that stuff with me. But that night I just had it with me, and I killed the power into it and left the recorder going. After I left the recorder going, after I come home the next night, I listened to it, and I could still hear the old-time music playing, but it was different than what I was playing on my phone. So, yeah, it can act as a trigger object sort of thing, I guess, so to speak. It's phenomenal the things you can do. And that's the big thing with World Ghost Hunt Day is you're going to see all this stuff going to amp up. It's going to be different for you. It's not going to be your typical night where you would do a tour or take people into your location and and expect the same kind of norm thing that's going to happen. You're going to find some extra things that's going to happen, or the things that normally happen are going to amp up a lot more for you. Like Claybank, our brick plant we're doing. The bricks that were made in that place ended up on the NASA rocket launch pad in the 70s. So that's how the bricks from Canada here ended up there. It was quite cool. But we used some EM pumps, and we put EM pumps in down there and tried those and see how it works. Well, just using the EM pump, it was amazing how much more it caused for activity to happen. It will happen in the abnormal places that you would expect activity to happen. So use your trigger objects if you can use some music, for sure, but play the music and the date and the time of when that place would have operation.
And Brandy, how about you?
What was your question again? I'm sorry.
It was as far as using like audio clips or music or something along those lines to get the other side's attention or boost activity. Do you guys do anything like that with your team or your tours?
I know it helps a lot at the speakeasy just because of the circumstance and being the prohibition and go ahead, Dan.
Oh, yes, during Prohibition, of course, that was the Roaring 20s, so we try to play the music of that era, and the big bands, the stuff that we think would have been played there at the Asylum Infirmary. We have tried Christmas music because a lot of local schools will come in and sing Christmas carols to the patients. And then we tried, if we start getting answers back, like we'll ask who's the president right now. And if we get, like Wilson or Taft or somebody like that, then we'll start playing the music of that era. And see if we can just keep that going. To start out with music, I think the only thing we've ever done was the Christmas music, because they did have so many Christmas carols going on there, and that did seem to get some results. And we've never really tried any modern music. So it's always been just from the past, basically, as far as I can think of.
At the Asylum Infirmary, too, we've had a group that was getting out cards because of the community room, and they got an incredible response. And we never really thought about it, but with it being a community room, that's where everybody would typically probably go and play games or bingo or play cards. So that was pretty neat to see what they gathered from that.
So my next question is, what do you hope to accomplish this year with the world's largest ghost tent? And we'll go back to Bradley.
Well, we're hoping to give financial stability to this location. Like I said, we're going to back down to Claybank. We love that little place, and it needs the help. Of course, with government cutbacks, as everywhere else in the world, they pretty much cut their funding rate to zero now, and they need it severely down there. So we're going back to Claybank, and we're hoping, like I said, we're hoping for 120 people for the ghost hunt. So that's our number we're shooting for this year. We're getting close to it already. We're bringing 120 people in for one night on a ghost hunt. So we done it one night before. We done it at an old TV hospital. We were expecting 80 people, and ended up 120 people showed up. luckily we had 4 big buildings to do.
Yeah.
But we done it. There's only 16 members, so we pulled it off. Everybody was pretty happy when they left. So we're, like I said, our number is 120, and we're charging $25 a head, so you can do the math. So, like I told the owner, Joan, we're not just here for one night. We're back again. If you want us back the next following weekend or the weekend after, or whenever, we're going to be back. Winter's going to be coming here in Canada here pretty soon. It's cooling off already, so our winters will shut down for the winter, but we'll hit it back up in the spring. But yeah, we're hoping to get that place on the map, get it known, get it out there. We got it on the news, Global News, CTV News, CBC News, Leader Posts, newspapers. We're posting it everywhere because we have banners done up, we have posters printed up. We got it advertised on the Facebook news sites around our location, and we're getting the name out there and getting it out there, and try to make it known, let people know about it, and get some people down in there and get them some support, and hopefully get them back on their feet again where they're okay, and once they're stable, and if they don't need us anymore, then we'll move on to the next.
Heck yes. Well, we're coming on to our next break. If you guys would like, go ahead and share your websites or ways people can contact you quickly, please.
You can get a hold of us on our Facebook page at Sam Paranormal, or you can find us on Twitter or Instagram. You also can contact us by email. It says samparanormal17@gmail.com.
And Brandy?
You can get us at the official Randolph County Asylum Infirmary on Facebook, and that's linked up to our Pinterest page and our Instagram and Twitter page as well. For the Old Blackford County Jail, it's on Facebook under the Old Blackford County Jail, and you can link up to that for our website as well. And the Irvin Campbell Speakeasy, that's what it is on Facebook. We also encourage people to call us. Our phone number is 765-808-8730. That way it's more on a personal level.
Awesome. Well,
And
thank
our
you so much.
email.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yes, our
I'm
email is savetheoldproperties@gmail.com. We started a LLC to save the old properties, acronym STOP. So if we see people tearing down buildings they shouldn't be, we want people out there with stop signs.
Thank you guys so much, Bradley, Brandy,
Yes.
and Dan, for being on. I hate to cut you off, but we got to go to break. Thank you guys again so much for being on.
Thank you.
You guys have a good night.
Thank you.
And
Have a good night.
Good luck with your hunt.
You too.
Heading to
Thank
Vancouver
you.
and looking for some great nightlife? The Moose Vancouver is the place to be. Catch a game on one of the big screens, or just come rock out to your favorite 80s and 90s hair bands. Great food starting at $6.95. The Moose Vancouver is open until 2 a.m. nightly. It's easy to find near the corner of Nelson and Granville. The Moose Vancouver is the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Coming September 28th to the 30th, it's our first annual Caribou Paracon, put on by Spaced Out Radio and the Canadian Society of Questers. 3 days of paranormal, supernatural, and spiritual knowledge in the beautiful 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Tickets are $150 Canadian for the event, being held at the Spruce Hills Resort and Spa. Come watch our featured speaker, Grant Cameron, along with Lorian Fenton, David Weatherly, Ross Allison, and more. The Caribou Paracon, celebrating everything paranormal.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
When it comes to the news, we look for the stories that the mainstream won't cover. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter. This is News Director Everett Thiemer. The Encounter is about the weird and strange stories that occur daily, and we scour the world looking to bring them to you. You can hear me with Dave Scott every Monday through Friday in our Encounter news segment. Read us online at spacedoutradio.com or check us out and give our Facebook page a like at SOR The Encounter. So come give The Encounter a read.
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm? Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live, and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, we own the night.
Find yourself constantly looking up in the sky, looking for answers? Have you had extraterrestrial contact? Are you an abductee? Looking for answers to your experiences? Hi there, I'm R. Keith Andrews, Spaced Out Radio's resident ET expert. Join me live the first Friday of every month, where I take questions from the Spaced Out Radio chat room and help you understand those from the far-off world. It's 2 hours of knowledge every experiencer should listen to. Hope to see you there.
Tonight's show and topic of discussion do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Spaced Out Radio, SOR Media, or its hosts. Listener discretion is advised. It's hour number 3 of Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. Follow Tessa on Twitter at Tessa TNT. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now back to the Rocky Mountains. Here's Tessa.
Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We're actually having some technical difficulties trying to get everybody on the same page with the Skype, and it's kind of frustrating. Right now we have Deb on the line. Deb, thanks so much for being on tonight.
Hi Tessa, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. We got one of us at least.
Yeah. Just trying to get everybody on the same page, and we had Souvik on here. And where are you from exactly?
I'm from just outside Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, awesome!
So yeah, over the other side of the world. So it's like 4:00 in the afternoon here on a Sunday afternoon here. So yeah.
So I'm going to leave Souvik a message and ask him to call back here in about 20 minutes, and maybe I can divvy it up in 20-minute increments between all of you guys. So can you tell our listeners a bit about yourself and how you got into National Ghost Hunting Day?
Yeah, so I've been involved with National Ghost Hunting Day since the start. So this will be the 3rd year that we've taken part. So I manage a team here called Twisted History. So we run a range of ghost tours, paranormal tours, murder tours, and haunted hotels all around Victoria and Australia here. So the past few years we've gone to different locations. Generally we've been down at our home base in Geelong Jail, but this year we've decided to head up to a goldfield town, an old goldfield town up in central Victoria here called Denali. So we're heading up there for the entire weekend, and we'll be doing a few different events over the weekend that people can come and join us on, and help us raise some money to donate back to the town for them to use with their historic preservation, with whatever they wish to do with it.
So how did you guys first get involved with the world's largest ghost hunt?
I can't actually. I know I was doing a Google search for something, and I stumbled across it and thought it was just such a brilliant idea about coming together all over the world to, we've all got the same aim that what we're trying to do, and it was just such a fantastic idea that Mariah and her husband started out with. That it's just an awesome event. So we've got 3-4 teams here in Australia that'll be taking part again this year. But yeah, it's been really, really good. So it's just one of those things. We actually have a couple of other teams that usually come in and help us out as well. So we end up in a number of different locations instead of just the one, which just sort of maximises how much money we can help give back, and it also helps to get that evidence back into the database with trying to prove the paranormal as well.
So have you guys gained members through advertising for these different locations, and people learning about it and having interest in this particular subject as far as the paranormal?
Yeah, we've had a few people come in and help us out. Generally, it's us approaching them to help us out so we can sort of maximise the efforts that we do on this particular day. So for us, it's actually an interesting one because we end up investigating actually on a Sunday afternoon. So we do a daylight investigation rather than one in the middle of the night when most people tend to do their investigations, which adds another element to it. It's a lot easier, a lot harder to investigate in daylight. But yeah, it's very interesting.
So what is the biggest piece of evidence you guys have gained so far doing this?
Not really sure, to be honest. We've had lots and lots of good evidence. Usually most of the evidence that we have gathered through the ghost hunt has been through the mediums, with the connection with, the bridge experiment that we've done in previous years. So it becomes very personalised to the locations. We're familiar, of course, with the spirits at Geelong Jail, because that's where we usually go. But this will be an interesting one. It's actually the 2 places that we'll be going to this year. We actually haven't investigated before. So we're not actually sure what we're going to be coming up against. But most of the evidence, I suppose, in previous years has been audio evidence. And yeah, it's been really good. We've had some really decent EVPs come through, and what we like to do with the evidence that we get to is being able to document the historical research. So we do a lot of research into it afterwards, into the location and what we actually get to see if we can actually have some correlation between the proven history, I suppose, or the documented history with what we've picked up through the investigation as well.
So have you been able to find names and actually help certain ghosts or entities with anything so far?
Yeah, well, last year, for instance, at Castlemaine Jail, we had the name Carson kept coming through throughout the investigation, and we were able to document that was actually one of the prisoners that was there. He is a bit cheeky. He didn't actually want to move on. He just liked making himself known, which he still does when we get there eventually anyway. And yeah, it was actually quite interesting. We were able to find out his whole story throughout the thing, which we were able to actually, sort of document through the public records, so with birth certificates and his rap sheet. We found out I think he was in for forgery, and how long he'd been at the jail for, and all that sort of stuff. So it was actually really, really interesting to be able to connect. He actually became very attached to one of our members, Dan. He was very attached to him throughout the investigation, sort of stuck fairly closely to him. And the odd few times that we've been back to Castlemaine that Dan's been with us, he always comes out to play again. So he's obviously taken a bit of a shine to Dan. So, which is quite interesting in there. But it was actually, I always find it very intriguing to be able to find the documented history to link these people together. That's sort of, from my history perspective, that's always very interesting.
So you find that doing the world's largest ghost hunt and National Ghost Hunting Day, have you found that activity is more prevalent, being on the same wavelength as others across the world, or do you find it to be about the same?
No, I think there is definitely an increased one. We don't always have mediums on our team, so having that medium, being able to have that connection and to being able to tune in with everybody else around the world, I think actually does help to amplify it. And especially, as I said, we're investigating through the day, so it actually adds that other element to it, that we can actually focus more on that side of it than worrying about what we're actually seeing, because it's actually daylight and it's a lot harder to I suppose, to document evidence, because it's a lot easier to I suppose, debunk it during the day with other people being in locations and shadows and things like that, whereas at night time I think that's a little bit easier. So it does add that other element to it. But yeah, I think that's very interesting, but I definitely think it's worth having the medium on the team, and I think that's part of the whole thing, is being able to connect and make that connection and get the, as Maria was saying earlier, with the documented words that we've been getting through, and especially the same words each year, it's giving us more and more evidence the more that we collect. And as we all know, doing this sort of stuff, it's not just the one investigation. It's as we continue on, it's that continued investigation, that continued evidence that adds more credence to what we're actually doing.
So we have a question here in the chat room from Kevin, and he's wondering, why is it harder for you to investigate in daylight?
I think because you have, like I said, there's a lot more being able to see a lot more. So you look at most paranormal investigations, it's usually in the middle of the night. So it takes away that sight aspect, which makes it a lot easier to concentrate then on the audio or the responses that you're getting through devices or things like that. Having daylight around you, it's a lot more distracting, I think. It gets a lot harder to actually concentrate on what's actually happening in front of you. And it's a whole different kettle of fish. I find it actually very different to investigating at night when we usually do it than investigating during the day.
Yeah, and I found that, daytime and nighttime investigations, we've actually gotten lots of evidence on both realms, but it seems like it's quieter at night, and like you were saying, you can pick up more things and hear more things and, get those sightings definitely coming through. Have you guys gotten any pictures or some awesome EVPs?
There was a couple of really good EVPs last year, and I can't remember for the life of me what they actually were at the moment. But I know that they did pick up EVPs both at Geelong and Castlemaine last year. I can't remember if they were in line with the words that were going around at part of the experiment. But it was very, very, very interesting on that. But I think that the main evidence that we had last year was as I said, was with Carson at Castlemaine. He seemed to be the most prevalent spirit that we had come through, which was very unique to the location where we were. But definitely a lot more heightened experience. And I think that depends also on your group too, whether they, whether your group is right into it. And as, I think as we all know, spirits will feed off the energy of the group and they can use that to go ahead. And, daytime can be really interesting because it's a lot busier around. It's a lot more distracting. It's a lot harder to actually focus on the job at hand, I suppose.
Yeah, and to get that quiet that you sometimes need to pick up those EVPs and such.
Yeah, as we all know, some of those EVPs are very, very quiet to hear some days. So, yeah. Quiet is good. Without all trains and cars and, other people walking past and mowing lawns and all that sort of fun stuff that can be going on in the background if you're doing a daytime investigation.
So, do you guys have a lot of people wanting to go with you and go on these ghost hunts? Do you guys actually advertise to people to come in? Because I know sometimes it's hard to get the results you want having people come in that aren't educated in the the field of the paranormal. And it's kind of distracting on its own, but...
I think it can also be good too, though, because they don't actually have any preconceived ideas with it as well. So having novices as part of that group, they're usually really keen, and of course they're probably trying to look for that thing a bit more harder than sort of, I suppose, some of the hardcore investigators. But I think having that mix of people, especially on this sort of a day, is actually really good. And I think this sort of day, the other part of this is being actually able to show people what we actually do. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what it is that we actually do and how we do it. And I think these sorts of days are actually really good to be bringing people to actually see what we're doing. And, during the day we do get a lot of people that haven't done it before. And, yeah, they have a lot of fun. And they're always very keen to learn too, so which I think is a good thing. This is, to me, is about education. So, we're educating on the history of the places, but we're also educating on paranormal investigations and how to do things, I suppose, in the right way.
So have you guys, has your team grown in numbers? Did you have a medium before you started this, or were you kind of inspired by the world's largest ghost hunt to acquire a medium to go along with the guidelines that they were requesting?
Yeah, so I've always invited a medium in. We don't have a medium on the team as such. Sometimes we will have, some of our investigators will have mediumship skills as well. But for this, we do try and have a separate medium where we can, just because I think that it works a lot better. They're generally people that we know of and that we've worked with in the past. I think it'd be a little harder working with a complete stranger for something like this. But, for instance, this year we're using a guy called Jeff, who was actually a customer of ours a couple of months ago. But seeing his style and how he works, it actually fits in very well with our team and how we work. So we've actually invited him along, and he's very, very excited about being part of it this year. He can't wait to get started with it.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Like, I know Maria and Scotty are working so hard to keep everyone on the same page and just trying to perfect this year after year. And I'm founder of Four Corners Paranormal Investigations, and we've actually been here for the last 3 years. This is our 3rd year, and we're just excited. And like you, we've grown in numbers, and we've added a medium and other things like that. And we've been able to do some awesome things. And it's just hard getting everyone in. There's so many people that want to come, and we're like, we have to do a drawing because we can only have so many according to the owner, and it's so hard. I want to take everybody.
Well, we do
can't.
The same thing. We actually limit the numbers to 20 per event. Just what we find that you get too big a numbers, then you start to lose being able to concentrate on actually what we're doing. And we do find that we do get a lot of new people coming in, and of course they tend to be a little bit more rowdier and all that sort of stuff. So we tend to try and keep the numbers down low. We'd rather put on extra events, which is what we're doing this year, rather than sort of only have that small number. So I think we've got 2 events running. We've got a hotel investigation running the night before, which will be Saturday night our time. And then we've got a courthouse that we're doing for the actual event, which is going to be interesting. It's actually a place that doesn't have any documented paranormal activity in the past. So it's actually going to be really, really interesting to see what we pick up, because I think courthouses are full of energy, given what's going through. We've also got the police stables and the lockup that have been there, so they're over 150 years old, which is probably old for Australia. But so it's going to be really interesting to see what we pick up in those 2 places. The hotel has some information, some paranormal activity that's been reported, specifically around some prostitutes. So that's going to be interesting on the Saturday night. So see what that comes up with. But yeah, no, it's going to be really good.
So what do you guys hope to gain this year doing the world's largest ghost hunt? What are your expectations?
I don't go in with too many expectations, to be honest. My focus with this, I'm sort of more of a historian rather than an investigator. So my view of this is being able to highlight these places that we're trying to save. So being able to get it in front of the media, get these places that not necessarily known by a lot of people. Getting this town is a goldfields town that's been there since the 1850s. There's less than 1,000 people that live there now. It's not a place that a lot of people go to, but we've found through some of our research that goldfields towns tend to have heightened paranormal activity, I suppose, which is said to be because of the amount of quartz that's in the ground around the town. But, so that's what we're sort of hoping to do, is to be able to highlight some of these places and get people to go there and just spend their money after the event as well, which then helps these places to continue to run.
Yeah, I've heard several people say that they've advertised this event, and then these places that don't get a lot of business regularly are just booked up. Like, they have all the rooms rented out, and it's just awesome. I love it when that happens. And
which is awesome, because that's what gets the money back into the place. And let's face it, the world's driven by money. So the more money and more people they've got going through the doors, the more likely they are to stay open. And that means that they're still going to be around for us to investigate in years to come.
Yeah, it's good to get that.
I always see this event as a twofold event. One is the side of saving these historical places, and then the other side is this having all the paranormal teams coming together all over the world, which I think is just it's such an awesome thing to do.
Oh, it is, and I'm super excited to do it again. And like you were saying, just putting the attention and the money and awareness to these places that generally are about to close down. And you know how Maria and Scotty, they're working so hard, and they could just put this out as, it's a ghost hunt, let's all buy tickets and do that, but they put it on a purpose, and that's highlighting these historical places and educating people on them, and trying to share that awareness of the other side. And I find a lot of comfort doing that.
Exactly, and it's getting people passionate, and like I love Maria's passion for this event, and it's just been, that's one of the reasons that, another one of the reasons that I've stayed involved is because, Maria's passion for doing this and bringing everyone together and making sure that we're all doing, the absolute best that we can for all these places, no matter where we are in the world, is just brilliant. And, to see how much the event's grown since that first year, because I think we had, and Maria can probably correct me later on if I'm wrong here, but I think we had about 70 odd teams the first year, and I think we're looking at about 150 teams this year. So we're continuing to grow every year, and that's just fantastic. And the more people who got involved, the more buildings that we can protect, the more buildings that we can get in front of people. And if people are passionate about places, then they're more willing to want to save them and go and spend their money there and be a part of that ongoing history that we all are putting into these places.
Yeah, and it's so awesome to, do that and put that awareness, because I hate seeing an old historic building tore down just for some new condominium or whatnot to be built there. Of course,
those square boxes.
Yeah, and of course these spirits are probably still going to dwell there unless they decide they like another place better, but...
That's the thing, and this is the thing sometimes that we find. I know here in Australia, a lot of even the Railway Hotel we're going to be doing Saturday night, for instance, it was, although it's got a big building there now that's been there since 1860, on the site. It's been on the site though since the early 1850s, because it was a canvas tent to start with that burnt down, and then it was a wooden shop that burnt down, and now it's this big building. But there's nothing to say, you know, we have all this different fabrics of time that come through these investigations, and not necessarily just what's in front of us. And that's what I'm actually going to find interesting about the courthouse when we go there on Sundays. As I said, there's no, you know, I haven't been able to find any documented paranormal activity at this point, but that doesn't mean that there's not anything there. And what we find here in Australia sometimes too is we'll sometimes get the Aboriginal or the Indigenous people will sometimes come through, not very often, but it does happen every now and then, will come through. And it's another fabric of that layer of the land. It's not just the building that's there in front of you, it's what's happened in that land and what energies have been, you know, left behind there, that I think is what we're all looking for.
Yeah, and just that knowledge that there is something on the other side besides darkness and, you know, being in a casket, getting eaten by bugs and worms and whatnot. Like, there's something else.
Fertilizing the ground.
Yeah. Fertilizing, yes. We need to help the trees grow.
We're still useful. We're just in a different way.
Yeah. Very resourceful as human beings.
So we're just being resourceful in a more different way at the moment, with you highlighting the history.
That's right.
But I think, you know, all of this is a benefit to everything. It's, you know, it's all highlighting the industry. It's all highlighting, and I think the other aspect from my perspective here in Australia is that we watch so many people watch, especially a lot of the American paranormal TV shows, and not understanding that, you know, that's the culmination of perhaps 48 hours in a location that's been crammed into an hour. That, you know, it is a lot of time is sitting in the dark and hoping someone's going to, you know, respond back to us. It's not necessarily, it's this constant activity. And I think that's really good with these events too, is being able to educate people of what a paranormal investigation is really like, that it's not just what it is on the TV. So that's kind of another aspect I think that's good. And that's all part of the education process, and that you'll probably get big on the educating, whether it's history or investigations or, you know, things like that. It's all knowledge, and knowledge is power to me. So, yeah, I think that's really good.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I had a question, but then I was reading these comments. I'm like, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Let me move my head around. Maybe I can catch it again.
I do it all the time. It's like, what day is it? No.
I know. I'll lose my train of thought, and so I'll walk back the way I came, and usually I'll pick it back up. It's funny how that works, but...
I know.
I'm a goober. I can't help it.
I think a lot of us in this industry are, and that's what makes us fun.
Yeah, and that's why when I saw... yeah, right. When I first saw Spaced Out Radio sharing my page, which is Four Corners Paranormal Investigations, yep, and it said Spaced Out Radio, and I was like, wow, I can relate. Let me check it out. And everybody was telling me, you're going to get hooked. You're going to be hooked. And I'm like, no, I never listened to these podcasts or online shows or whatever, and I was surely hooked from the get-go.
I just go, nah, I haven't got time for that. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to, nah.
Yeah, I was hooked. I couldn't help it. But I can relate. I am very spacey, especially this week.
That's a good thing. But like I said, it's all learning. You know, there's so much. You know, there's so many different topics that is covered by this whole paranormal field, and you know, you could. There's just so much that you can learn. It's just, it's ridiculous. People just need to be open up and just allow themselves to be, you know, for it to come in and you know, to find out these things and to be educated and learn new skills. So, but that's what I find, you know, going back to the ghost hunt and that too, with having other teams and that involved, that's where that's really good too, I think, is seeing the different ways that different teams will tackle the same thing, whether it's, you know, getting EVPs or whether it's, you know, using the gadgets or whether it's doing history or whatever. Everyone has their own spin on exactly how they do it. And I think we can all learn from each other, as well as being able to, you know, show the public what we actually do.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I love giving hope to people and you know, giving them that little tidbit of information to help them open their minds to this,
Yes.
because a lot of people are so close-minded to it, and there's nothing on the other side. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I can just look at my kids and know there's some higher power, and different experiences I've had seeing things as a child and growing up, and even in dreams, because I think that's the easiest way for the other side to communicate with us. There's so many things out there, and people just chalk it up to, well, it was just a dream. Well, there's so much more out there, and I love what Maria and Scotty and Bob, Maria's other half, are doing, and they work so hard, and they work their fingers to the bone and get hardly any sleep because they're trying to communicate with all of us all across the world.
Yes.
And they're just so freaking amazing.
It's so much easier if we're all in the same time zone, but we're not.
Yeah.
And I think even organising these interviews today, I think that even was becoming with the different time zones and who's in what time zone and where, and we got there in the end, though.
We did. And I'm so grateful for her for doing that and putting this together. And I just want to spread the word and make everyone aware, because we do have listeners here all across the world, and hopefully they'll hear this. And if they can't do it this year, as Maria was saying, it's pretty booked up and we're probably not taking anymore. Perhaps next year they can, and it's going to spread even further and be so much greater, and we'll connect that chain even closer together and get some...
And the thing is, even if they can't personally be there this year, if everything is booked out, they can still watch us all. We have this, Maria's and Bob and that have done such a wonderful job with being able to have this live stream. So no matter, even if you didn't get a ticket to actually go, that you can still tune into the different, different investigations and just see what's happening and how things are done. And like, I find even, as team leader with our lot, that watching other people and seeing how other people do things will give me ideas on how I might want to do something differently, or introduce a new experiment, or something different that we're going to do. And I think we can all learn from each other, as well as sort of the greater population, the paranormal industry. But we can, there's something you can always learn from someone else. You just need to be open to it. And I think that's what's so good about this event is all these teams opening up to each other and all coming together for the same thing.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it's amazing, and like I said before, I'm so grateful what Maria and Bob and Scotty are doing. They're amazing people, and I believe in what they're doing, and I back it up 100%, but we're at the end of our time, you and I together, because we got to let Souvik in here, because we can't get you guys on the same page for some reason. I don't understand this.
Somebody's deciding, no, you need to speak to us each individually today, not all together like we were supposed to.
And that's working out very well. We're going to go from Australia to India. But could you tell our listeners about your group, how to get a hold of you, your website, and whatever else you got going on?
So we're Twisted History. So you can find us on Facebook at Twisted History, Limelight Tours, I think it comes up as. Our webpage is twistedhistory.net.au, which has got all our range of tours and that we do. So we do investigations nearly every week. It's somewhere in Victoria. Our latest one is our haunted hotels. So we go into a hotel, have dinner, and then go and investigate all the different areas, which is a lot of fun. So they can get hold of us there. That's probably the easiest place to find us is all our contact details are on the webpage. So they can find us through there.
Awesome. So everybody, this is Deb Robinson from Australia, our sister on the other end of the earth. And
down under.
Yeah, down under. And we got a couple buddies in here from Australia that are listening tonight. But thank you so much again for being on and for all of your information and for what you're doing. And I hope this year is the most epic of all with this world's largest ghost hunt.
You too. I hope it goes really well for you too. I can't wait to hear it afterwards.
Awesome. Thanks, Deb. Thanks so much for being on. I loved hearing from you.
Bye.
Good night. All right. Souvik, do we have you on? All right. Well, we're going to wait again for him to call in, because I know he's going to call in here just in a second. But in the meantime, I'm going to pull up his bio. Living in Kolkata, India, and a second-year veteran. Oh, here he comes. Souvik, welcome. I finally got you on here.
Finally, I got here after so many technical faulties.
I was just reading your bio. Second-year veteran with the world's largest ghost hunt, Souvik serves as the events ambassador to Asia, helping other teams become comfortable with the process, having had paranormal events occur to him since his childhood. Souvik's strength is his willpower, self-confidence, and dedicated experience in the paranormal field. Souvik is in his final year of studies for his degree in electronics and communication engineering. Souvik is a paranormal investigator, adventure lover, foodie researcher, and that sounds delicious, founder of Spooky Paranormal Investigators, one of the largest paranormal teams in India. His focus is with activities to debunk the proper scientific reasons. How is everything happening? For instance, how do spirits perform activities? What are spirits? What are orbs? And what is the difference between various kind of orbs? And how do they generate? Welcome, Souvik. It's so good to have you, and I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties and not getting you on sooner.
No, it's okay. It can be happened. Yeah, hi everyone. It's Souvik from India, and it's nice to be here.
I'm so happy to have you and hear your voice. I can feel that you're a positive spirit, and you are so patient with me in my trying to figure out this technical stuff. I don't know why we couldn't have Australia and India on the same line and conjoin the calls. For some reason, Skype is just working against me, but I'm so glad to have you. So, is this your first year with the world's largest ghost hunt, or where are you at in that spectrum?
No, it's been a second year of world's largest ghost hunt. Last year we also participated. And this year we are trying to make it some bigger also.
That's awesome. So are you guys getting a lot of people paying attention and trying to join you on your hunt and preserve this historic location that you're hunting?
Yes, this year also we are trying to make it bigger, I say. So we are selling some tickets, and people are buying it for watching the world's largest ghost hunt and participating in it. And we also promised them to join us in our own investigation, and we will show them in front of whole world that not only us, but also they are also capable of doing such things. So, and the historical property is actually, it's quite a bit forgotten place. Its name is Bengal Immunity, and it's the company when British ruled India. So there's lots of lunatic practices happen there. The workers are brutally murdered here, and they are burnt alive, and lots of cruel things so much devilish things have done there. So we are doing this event because we are doing this event at morning. So we chose this place as one of the most horrified and most terrified place and the most devastating place in India. So we are trying to focus that place, that this place has been forgotten for a couple of years. When I was child, I listened so many horror stories about this place, but I haven't that much guts to investigate when I was young. So right now, when I formed a team and everyone is doing such a great, and I thought, why couldn't we do this place right now? So this place is quite much interesting than other place. So yeah, and we also keep it in mind that we should respect that historical place and their history.
So have you, did you investigate this place last year, or did you guys do another one?
We did another one actually. We did another one. It was in another place. It was a mansion type place, and it also had some underground passage there. But last year we had some difficulties. Actually, during the event, our teammates actually suddenly made some accident there, and we rushed to the hospital, and later on we recorded it in other day, not in that day, and we published it or uploaded it later on. So last year it was not quite that much satisfying for us, but this year we are trying to do so much better than what we did last year.
It's awesome how it just grows and grows, and me personally, like my team, Four Corners Paranormal Investigations, has grown immensely every year. We have people interested, and some people just want to come out for the fun of it, and other people, like my core crew, want to come and educate themselves on ways of investigating and ways to protect themselves and ways to help people. Are you guys hoping this year to be able to help these tormented spirits in this location? Because you're saying it's really violent and difficult and a hard place to be. So many tragedies happen there. Are you hoping to get some names and be able to help some spirits that are probably trapped there?
Yeah, we are hoping that we can do that, but it's all about 2 hours. Actually, the event is about 2 hours, so I don't know, how much we can get in 2 hours. But later on, we have planned that we will do some extra investigation at night also, and the whole night actually. So, and we'll be trying to gather some more information from there. I hope we can get through some other names and we can help them also. And sometime it happens that lots of people died, but they don't even remember that they are dead. So they are trying to communicate with people again and again. And we are here to help them and to tell us that they are dead right now and they are free to go. So they have no attachment with that place right now. So they don't need to worry about it. So I hope we can do it. We can do some justice this year to those people who are brutally murdered here, and also if there's some rumors also there, and we can also debunk that rumors with some scientific equipment also. We are hoping that much of things, but yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to be able to capture that evidence and get some names and help these people on the other side from us to find closure and find peace and to move on. So, are you saying that what happened here was so, like, their deaths happened so quickly that they don't even realize they're dead?
Yeah, I've heard about some lunatic practices here that some doctors gave them anesthesia and operate their brain and kill them. And so I think some people were in coma-like conditions when they are dead, or some are unconscious, some were unconscious right at that time. So they didn't even remember that they were dead. So I think I can reach to them and tell them that they are free now. They have nothing to do with this world right now. They have a larger world to move on.
Yeah, there's so many things that they can be doing and seeing and partaking in, like, the astral hop, going through the universe, and, I could just imagine dancing through the stars and coming back and visiting your family and comforting them when they need comfort, or guiding them when they need that. But that is so important to our team as well, is helping not only people on this side to understand, but people on the other side to help them to move on wherever they need to be instead of just being stuck where they're at.
Yeah. There are also rituals in our Hinduism that we actually burned people's body. We don't bury them. So it's believed that when body is fully burned, but the soul takes 7 to 8 days to be filterized. So there is a process of filtration of spirits, so that they can go to another afterlife and they can reborn again. So if they had any emotional attachment with some places or with some incidents or with some persons, so they can get that filtration process and they stuck into this world with those emotions. So they need to break through that emotions to get through another world or get filterized or get another life. So we need to break their emotional attachment for getting a peaceful life again.
Yeah, and that's so key. A lot of people think that it could be a trap or whatever. We have a diverse group here that listens to us, and we have so many different beliefs going on, and some people believe that going to the light is a trap or a trick of some sort, but if you don't learn those certain lessons that you need to learn in life, how do you know where to go from there? You gotta go through life again and relearn those lessons and hopefully master them. But it's so awesome what you guys are doing over there, and I really commend you, and I look forward to looking up your page and liking it, because I mean, what you guys are doing is epic, just helping people on this side and the next, and trying to find that peace and to move on to the next life and learn these key things that we need to embrace and master. So what do you guys hope to accomplish this year with your investigations?
First of all, we need to reach out the people who don't know us till now. But I actually thank World Largest Ghost Hunt, National Ghost Hunting Day, and Maria and Scotty, everyone, that for them, we are right now outside India, we are a bit much popular. And that's happened because of them. So I really appreciate them for giving us a chance to show the world what that Indian people can do, because in India paranormal things are not that much I must say not that much advanced. So in India people do some rituals. Some people are trying to be a paranormal investigator, but they don't have that much of knowledge or that much of courage to do like other people in other countries. They do it. They take some risk, real risks, and they all find the seek for truth actually. So it's our duty to tell people that paranormal investigators are not here for only find the ghosts or to disturb them or to run them away from other people. Actually, the paranormal investigators are here for seeking the truth. They are here for some advanced researches so that we can help what we can't see, those people who needs our help, and not only spirits or ghosts, but also some extraterrestrial things that we have come up with, and some other cosmic and supernatural things, so that we can debunk it with our scientific equipment, and we can reach out to other people and telling them that those are completely scientific phenomena and those are actually happening. Those are not a myth. So if you think it as a myth or some false accusing of some people, you might miss something. So that our science is what we call science. That our science is not actually fully approved. Actually, it's based on some assumptions. So we need to find the real science behind every paranormal events, every supernatural things. So that's why what paranormal researchers do, they've again and again and again they're trying to capture those evidence and debunking with some real equipments, scientific equipments, and show the people that yes, they exist and those are completely normal phenomena. Those are not the paranormal. It's called paranormal, but it's beyond the normal, but not some abnormal things. So yeah, it's our duty to reach out the people and give them proper scientific causes so that everyone can believe that yes, they exist and they should also help them.
So what is the largest piece of evidence that you guys have captured so far for your team?
Yeah, we have been doing this for lots of years, but yeah, some evidence really haunts us till now. There was a village called Jangli, and there was a place in that village, it's called Kargil, and there we faced some real troubles, and at night, it's near about 2 a.m. we went there, and there was a field full of deadly snakes. We didn't know about that. We were just capturing with our night vision cameras and full spectrum cameras, and suddenly we heard something, and we just see under beneath us, and we found some deadly snakes there, and we just ran behind from where we have come, and we are doing some live sessions with spirit box and EVP recorders, and after 1.5 hours, we got some responses from the people of other world, we must say, and they were in groups, and they were continuously communicating with us, and we are also communicating with them. And suddenly we asked them that where are they? So they told us that they were right side of ours. So, and tell them to come forward, and we completely forgot that right a moment before we went that place, and we found some deadly snakes there, and so when we are about to step forward, and we just thought, what are we doing? We are moving into a trap. And suddenly we told them that if you were there, then how can you communicate with us with these equipments here? And suddenly they laughed. And they are continuously playing some mind games with us. And if we move forward by listening to them, I might not be here to this. And also some months before, we investigated a place near crematorium field. The field was completely normal, but at night the field becomes some strange. The high EMF field generates there, and we investigated, and we started some speedbox sessions over there, and we got some responses that a female voice is coming through the spirit box and communicating with us. And that time we are taking those things as casual, so we are also communicating with like a friend. So we are asking something, and we are also making fun of them. So after some moment, a deep dark voice generates. I mean, it's not like a manly voice, not a female voice, it's a dark voice. And those gave us slangs in our own languages, our regional language, which is in Bengali. It gave us slangs, and that moment, that things just struck in our mind. what's that? Then we started to capture some pictures, and in a picture, we got a full body apparition behind our teammates, and that full body apparition, and we can't see its face, but it's like somebody's wearing some jackets type things and some hoodies and giving some poses over there. And after a moment, we're capturing photos again and again. So after that moment, that body changed that shape, and it converts in some demonic faces, and we suddenly discovered that that place was not so much easy for us, and that spirit actually too much powerful to control all the spirits over there. The crematorium is a holy place where people burn, but the places beside that, the field actually is tremendously haunted. And when I got to that place where I found the full body apparition, I found some shakiness. I got some headaches and some kind of side effects of that, and suddenly I ran to from that place, and those symptoms gone. So that was a huge evidence for us, capturing voices and the full body apparitions. And
feeling those effects through your personal self, getting the headache and the nausea and stuff like that. That's never a good feeling.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that I finally got you on. We have about 2 minutes before we have to go. So is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners? On the last minute, I'll ask you about your website and such. But what tips can you give our listeners as far as ghost hunting and the proper etiquette in doing such?
Yeah, I'd like to tell to Indian people also that if someone is doing something strange or something newer, don't humiliate them. Try to support them and try to understand what they are doing also. And for those who are getting rid of some paranormal events, I must say that if this is a normal paranormal event occurred by some spirit, if you want to get relief from them, you must ignore them, because ignoring is the best way to get detached from emotional attachment. So, yeah.
That's some really good advice. Souvik, do you have a website or a Facebook page or anything you'd like to share with our listeners of ways that they can follow what you guys are doing and to like your page, etc.?
Yes. We have a page called Spooky Paranormal Investigators in Facebook. You can follow there, you can like our page, and also we have some YouTube channels. There are lots of videos there of our investigation. It's also Spooky Paranormal Investigators, and we have Twitter of SPOfficial_IND, and you can mail us in souvik@spaofficial.in and spiofficialindia@gmail.com, and our website is www.spaofficial.in. So you can go there and check out our all latest videos and previous videos, and you can find some interesting stuff there. And I have some I had my own research paper there, published there, so you can check it out also.
Awesome. Well, thank you so
and also
much.
Also don't forget to watch the World's Largest Ghost Hunt.
Thank you again, Souvik, for being on, and I apologize so greatly for the technological difficulties. But thank you again so much for being on the show and informing us about your part of the world and the stuff that's going on there. I'm very grateful for you being here tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you everyone for yeah. Goodbye everyone.
Goodbye. Thank you so much. So thank you so much to my guests, Mariah Schmidt, Scotty Rorek, Bradley Monk, Brandy Reader, Dan, Souvik, Deb Robinson, and everybody that came out to listen tonight. Thank you everyone on Spaced Out Radio, Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, Deep Talk Radio, and wherever else you may be listening in the universe tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, and it was my pleasure, literally and figuratively. I can't wait to do it again tomorrow on spacedoutradio.com. Don't forget, we are all in this together. Together we can make the world a little better, and together, my friends, we own the night.